What's up everybody, Maine Fly Guys here with another tutorial. Today we are going to tie, I don't know, it's kind of a clink but kind of not a clink, but it's a blue-winged olive imitation. And I've had really good success. So this is a size 16, but I really like to tie it in size 18. First you're going to start with a little Kip Tail, and I like you're going to make a post, and I like that post to be about the same length as the shank. So I go ahead and tie it in about 1, maybe 2 eye lengths behind the eye. So we have 2 eye lengths behind there. And then I'll just secure it, cinch it down, and then you're going to want to cut this at an angle. Cut that at an angle because you're going to hopefully make a nice tapered body with that. So go ahead, begin working down your body, and hopefully it starts to taper at some point. So I get about as far as I can go. There's a little bit of a taper there. Maybe not as gradual as I would like it, but there's a little taper there. So at the very base, I don't spend too much time separating my tails out, but here are tails. Again, I like them to also be about the same length as the body, because if you've ever seen a BWO, their tails are quite long. So you can split them, of course, if you'd like. I don't see the need in doing so, but if you'd like, you sure can. So now this is just going to be a thread body. So what I like to do is just go back with touching wraps, basically. Alright, so there's our little blue-winged olive body, as you can see. Again, nothing fancy, it's just, you know, olive thread. So what we're going to do next is we're going to lift this Kip Tail up. So you're going to want to pull it back and really secure it in. Okay. Now what I like to do is to make my post, so I'm going to rotate my fly. Okay, so don't worry too much about these little fibers getting caught and stuff. We can go back and pluck them out after. They won't be too much of a big deal. So to start your post, you're going to get on top. And I like to go around just a few times at the base and work my way up nice and slowly. You might want to use 2 hands because with Kip Tail, the thread will typically slip off the top. And if you've never made a post, you likely will figure this out your first time. So I'm just going to go around. That's about high enough. And then I'm going to work my way back to the very base, kind of cinch it down, come around the back side. So there's our post. Okay, so now that we have our post, I'm going to tie in our hackle. And what I've done, I don't know if you can see that, is I've removed half the fibers on one side of the hackle. So we're going to tie that side of the hackle, the side with no feathers, no fibers. We're going to tie it going up the post with the hackleless side against the post. And again, try to do touching wraps. Come on. And try to get all the way up. That's good enough for me. And then once you're all the way up, you can go right back down. It's important to note that during this process, you don't want a lot of extra thread off your bobbin. So if you find that you're, way out, you're holding your bobbin 6, 7, 8 inches away from your bodkin, then that is something that you should definitely address and tighten up. I'll come back and lower this into focus. All right, so, excuse me, COVID. So I'm gonna come through and just kind of pluck out any loose fibers that are hanging around. So, after I get my hackle tied in and everything, what I do is I put a little drop of super glue around the base of the post. I just kind of dab it up around just to give it some extra stability, to make sure my hackle won't slip. Because these posts can be a little flimsy, especially the Kip Tails. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to add a little Thorax, and this is some fine dry fly dubbing. It's super fine. And I really don't want to add a lot. I want it to be a really fine rope of dubbing, which you guys will see in a second here. Not much thicker than my thread, you know, maybe twice as thick, 3 times as thick. So grab less dubbing than you think that you need. So there you see it's very fine, very thin. And then I'm just going to start making a thorax. I usually try to get 2 or 3 wraps behind the post, and then kind of 1 out front, 2, and then all the way to the eye. And there we go. So there's a little stringy there. There's our little thorax, nice and neat. Now I'm going to flip my fly again to do the final. How can you guys see that? Yes, you can. To do the final portion, which is this post. And so I'm just going to take my hackle and I'm going to begin wrapping it, starting from the top and then working my way down. Again, I like to get 5 or 6 wraps. I think that's 5 right there. And then what I'll do is at the very bottom, I'll take my thread, catch my hackle once, twice, kind of give it a tight pull. That looks pretty good. How's that look from your guys' end? I guess we'll pick it up a little bit so you can see it better. There we go. So real quick, I want to mention that you see how it's nice and fine here. This will still float just great, but that's why I took off half of the fibers. It's a little finer, and it just looks a little neater to me compared to something like this. I don't know if you guys can see that. So it's not as neat, it's a little bushier, and that has both sides of the hackle. So this one looks a lot neater. Does it fish any better? Definitely not. So I'll come in and clip that. Now we're going to whip finish right at the bottom. We're going to whip finish right underneath the hackle and try to get a decent sized hackle loop going. And right underneath. Just be careful not to catch any fibers. And even if you do, it's not a huge deal. So there's 3. Boom, pull it tight. Snip it off. And then I always add a little drop of glue right here underneath, kind of, you see that little gap? See that little thread gap right there? Right there. I always add a little drop of glue there just because I really want to make sure that the hackle stays together and doesn't come undone. And you just need a little tiny drop. It's nothing crazy. And so there, oh, look at that. Beautiful. So basically how this fly works, just a quick tip. It floats. You'll always see this Kip Tail and these hackle fibers. This floats. But what the fish will see is basically this body sits in the film of the water. So it's technically submerged, The only thing keeping this afloat is the hackle and the Kip Tail. I don't put any gink on this at all, and it floats just fine. Because if the body is floating, then it defeats the purpose of the fly. So you really want that fly. You don't want to use gink because you want the body of that fly to be in the water. Not on top of the water, but actually in the water. So that's my favorite BWO pattern. I hope you guys like it. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on those notifications. As the winter season comes, I'm going to be a little more regular with my fly tying videos. So check out our Instagram or our website. We got plenty of fishy items up on our website now for you guys to buy. So feel free to head on over there and check that out. And leave a comment if you have any questions. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.